All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our session. My name is Patricia Wiebe. I'm a director at the province of British Columbia, and I've been spending many years working on identity, so it's really great to be back here at the conference and able to show our work. And with me is my colleague, Marcos.
Marcos Carretero, so I'm a solution architect, and I've been working with Patricia for 8 years directly, a few more indirectly, and so we're here to tell you about what we've been doing.
Yeah. So the focus of our presentation today is on the use of standards and open source in our solutions. That's right, I got to click this button. Okay. What I want to share with you is our story of the BC Services Card. First of all, British Columbia. Not sure, how many Canadians do we have in the crowd? A few? That's great. Thank you, supporters. And a few from British Columbia. So we are in the leftmost or the westmost part of Canada there. And we're a province of about 4.75, depends on how you count it, million residents, and we've issued this new government ID card to our population over the last while. We started issuing our cards in 2013, started attending identity conferences a few years before that, but this is the basis. We issued these cards to adults and children. For children, we have a non-photo version of the card. And we have this on a 5-year renewal cycle. So we've gone through the first 5 years and we're into the next, but people are getting these cards in their wallets today. So we consider just getting the cards issued to be quite a success as well. So it's a new government issued photo ID, but it's paired with or combined with the driver's license for many people. They could choose to have one card in their wallet or 2 cards in their wallet. The picture that you see on the screen is a combination card. And so that makes it very familiar and easy for people to understand. And this card was brought into existence with our healthcare program. And so on the back side of the card is our provincial health number. But really more important for us in the work that we do is this is the basis for our new digital ID solution, which we had visions of a decade ago. And it is a trusted data repository of verified identity information. So we know everybody in the province as well as we would know them for a driver's license. The card also has a contactless chip in it, and we wanted to put that in there from the very beginning to enable digital solutions. And so that's how we started our journey. Around 2014 timeframe, we were doing 2-factor authentication solutions using the chip. We built a solution of a SAML identity provider, providing verified identity attributes to a few relying parties who are willing to work with us at that time in the early days. And we have then rolled out solutions for having card readers at government counters, and so that's what you see pictured there with the BC government logo on it. So we've got some branded hardware, the government, and we're going to use that later in a demo. And so the people who work at the government counters are trained to ask people to tap their card on the card reader that uses the chip. And then up on the screen is the photo of the person that was taken when they got the card, and to assist in doing photo matching. We also built login for government websites, and we have a different card reader. It looks like a USB fob, and we work towards having the person have one of these at home, tap their card on that card reader, and enter a passcode. And then later we looked at Android technology with the NFC built in, and people could have, so then we developed a mobile app, and a person could tap their card on the back side of an Android device as a chip reader. And we thought, this is getting more familiar and more accessible, and citizens want mobile solutions. And so we knew we had to do better. The chip is great to get us started, but we knew we had to do more towards mobile. And so that's where we really jumped in, both feet in on a new mobile card solution. And that's what we're here to share with you today. So we developed this as a representation of the physical card in a mobile app. And through this presentation, Marcos is going to explain more the technical architecture that goes along with it. But we, at a really quick level, we knew from a requirements perspective, it had to work on all of the Apple devices. And Android. Android had NFC, Apple at the time, and kind of still didn't have the NFC solution. And to make this accessible to phones and tablets. And really, it's whatever personal devices the citizens have. And that would definitely save the government costs in issuing card readers. So we started talking about it as a mobile app that was a credential. Still wanting to go through with the two-factor authentication aspect to keep our solution strong and to protect the verified identity information. And we leveraged the built-in device security of whatever the user had configured. So if they used a passcode, Touch ID, and then Face ID. And this was a big deal a couple of years ago, and now it seems mainstream. So we're glad that that has worked out. We needed to also do this without the traditional, or traditional at that time, MDM. And there was some resistance there. People, there's ways to solve mobile device problems. It's like, not for citizens. We need to be able to get this app out there to untrusted devices. And then at the same time, the added challenge of being the first mobile apps to develop for the province of BC, and having the challenges with establishing even something basic like getting a store account in the name of the province, and the resistance internally on some of these things. But we persisted, and we have a demo to show you now of how our mobile card works, and then we're going to explain a little more after that. So our demo, we're going to show two parts or so. We're going to show Marcos as a citizen living in the province who needs to get this set up. We're going to show you a live demo, and with live demo there is always risk. We've prayed to the demo gods today, but we are going to show you what Marcos's real card. Yes, we're good.
Yes, we're good.
And we're going to first do kind of the user enrollment part of it, and then using that to access an online service.
Right, so I'm going to pretend to be going back to school today, and I want to get a student loan. So there's a Student Aid BC.
This is production. We really have the student loan program live and connected here.
And so, okay, how do I apply for a student loan? Okay, I need to log in. And yes, they still have a username and password, but down here, it is login with BC Services card. Okay, but how do I do this? So somewhere along the way, I have to figure out how to get a mobile card. Oh, I can look there too. So there's lots of information on the website about how to get one, how to set it up. Eventually you'll get to the store, and this is the App Store. I've already downloaded it. We just released a new version a few days ago with the option to use video to do verification, but I'm not going to show you that today.
No, we'll show you if you come and see us after.
That's right.
Yeah. It's only so much time today.
So the first time you go through, lots of permissions stuff, right? Notifications, privacy.
We take privacy very seriously, and we need to have those privacy notices on our app.
And the terms of use. This is the legalese, and we're trying to find a way to put the button at the top.
Yep.
I think you got the lawyers to agree?
Yep. Next release.
Okay, so now I need to provide a little bit of information about myself. So I'm going to start with my card and camera, and I think the light should work here, and my shake. Okay, 1 second.
You're too nervous for this demo.
A little bit. So we also ask for a birth date. So, and this is, yes, this is going to be my real birth date.
So we're asking for an additional piece of data to make sure that the person has their card, not just a photocopy of a serial number. But we really don't know who this person is. And so that becomes the next step. So first we're validating the information, and then we're going to get to verifying.
So the birth date is not already in this draft?
It is. So anybody that has, you know, if I drop my card on the street, somebody could do that, right? But this next step, they have to go to a government counter, either in person or remotely by video, which is our beta tag there. And so I'm going to do it in person, and Patricia is going to be the counter.
So I'm set up here with the user interface that our government counter agents have. And I have a screen in front of me, and I have a card reader. And this area isn't quite set up to look like a government counter, but I would say, hello, would you like to be identified here? And I would be assisting him with getting himself set up on his mobile device.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I need to click this button. Verify mobile card. So he would have asked if that is the transaction that he is attempting to do. And we have weak wireless in here. I'm trying. Reconnecting.
And VPN.
This is what happens with the live demo. Talk about what you see on your screen.
Go ahead. Yeah.
On the website, why did you put the BC card on top of
So that's one of our clients, right? So that's a relying party. So it's up to them. We give them design guidelines about where to put our login with BC Services card, but at the end of the day, it is up to them. And as they're starting to roll it out, you know, they already had a username password solution in place, right? So that's still probably the predominant way that students were logging in previously. And as they move forward with this, as they get more users, they'll probably go with the moving ours up top. Yes?
What is your percentage buy-in for the population?
What is our percentage of actual mobile card users? The percentage is low. Right now we're at about 30,000, and we'll have a slide about that
Next.
coming up. And it's really about, as more services come online, there's more drivers for people to actually start using it in a digital way. Hello, may I please verify my mobile card?
I would love to serve you if VPN would just stay on.
question? Yep, out there.
So when I'm at the counter, I'll click, OK, I want to verify in person. And it tells you where to go and what to bring. So I have to bring my card, which I just handed to Patricia. Usually we don't try and give it to the agent, much like our credit cards. We want to keep it ourselves.
I'm sorry.
And we have this confirmation number here that I would present to Patricia. Yes?
Go ahead.
Would this be accepted as a government verified ID? Like for banking, we have AML and know your customer recognition.
Right.
So would this be legally accepted?
In a digital transaction?
No, when someone is opening an account. Yes.
Online, right?
Yes.
We think it could be, right? We haven't expanded beyond government services yet, but we do believe that it could go that way. Yes?
I'm sorry. I'm having problems with network.
OK. Well, I can switch to my other phone, which is verified. So this confirmation number is there. So I've presented my card, and I've presented my device to the agent, and it gets verified. And I'll have to switch here. Stop. Mm-hmm. 4793.
No, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Okay. BC Services card. That one's production.
So we have a policy that you can have your identity on multiple mobile devices, and so Marcos and most of our product team have quite a few of these.
So once you've verified, you get a little notification like this, your mobile card is ready. The only personal information or personally identifiable information that's actually stored on the device is my name. At this point, if I do want to see the card details, this is actually making a network call to get the user information and to get my picture. And so that is the picture of me that was taken to get my driver's license. We don't have all of the information that's on the card. Like Patricia mentioned that there's the personal health number. We don't actually keep that as part of our solution. We try and give every program their own identifier. So now to go and use it, student aid. Yes, I was looking at Come on. And back over to the login button. So obviously, going to a government counter is a little bit inconvenient, and you couldn't do this all in one flow. But with our new video solution, you actually could. So I want to use the mobile card on my device. Open the BC Services Card app. Here we say, do you want to log in to Student Aid BC? Oh, this one's Face ID, yeah. And so it just did my Face ID authentication there.
So whatever the user has configured will just take effect.
And then this is back on our login website, and it's saying, okay, Marcos, do you want to share this information with Student Aid BC? Right, so it's going to get my date of birth, that I'm male, my address. This is really me. And so yes, I do want to give that information to Student Aid BC. And so now they're able to pre-populate the form for an application. They have editable email address, but the names, all the verified attributes, they don't want that to be edited, right? And so I'm not going to continue because I don't really need a student loan today. But that was our demo.
Student Aid has, thank you. Student Aid has had upwards of 30,000 applicants using this solution in the last year. We brought this out last April, and it has a lot of success, and it's really dramatically made things better for students as well. What used to be a paper and in-person Canada Post visit to get your student loan money has been reduced from 6 weeks to 1 week, or I'm not quite sure the statistics there, but people are able to get verified faster and easier using this approach for sure. So made a difference for our students.
So a little bit about our timeline, right? So as Patricia said earlier, back in 2014, we already had the USB, collect the chip and the passcode option, but we had to send people to go to a counter to get an actual passcode, right? So much like your MasterCard PIN, you have to go to the bank to get that PIN, right? We needed this solution for mobile card. We had to do it ourselves. We couldn't procure anything at the time, and we had, what, 3 months?
3 months to do a prototype,
yeah.
And
so we pitched a concept that said, well, maybe every app instance is an OpenID Connect client. And so then I came over to CIS. I'd already been coming for a few years, and I spoke about it with John Bradley. I spoke about it with Justin and with Sarah Squire, and they said, yeah, that might work. And so we did the prototype. And the prototype was successful, and then the executive gave us a little bit more rope, and we started the real project. So we started with user experience design, and then we actually thought, well, maybe we actually should hire some experts to work with us on this. And so Justin, Richard, and Sarah Squire worked with us as expert advisors. We had the development done, verify at a counter, We went through third-party security code reviews, privacy assessments, and then we launched.
And then we kept going, and that's what you do in these things, is there's always more and more things that you want to build in, and so as Marcos has indicated, Verify by Video is our latest thing we launched 3 days ago. And that's about reducing the counter visit and having people have that interaction with the government counter agent, but through their mobile device where they're having essentially a video call, and through that their identity is verified and they're able to move on. So we're at 25,000 or more cards so far, and now I think we're going to switch over to how it works underneath.
That's right, yeah. So like I said, each mobile app is its own OpenID Connect client to our server. When it first starts up, when you see that spinner, it's actually doing some discovery against our server to make sure it's getting the latest keys, all that kind of thing. And the first time when I clicked on Accept Terms, it's actually registering as an OpenID Connect client to our server. It's generated a private key, and it's sent up the public key just like a regular OpenID Connect client. And then we use the rest of it. As Justin and John told me many, many times, always use auth code flow. And then Justin said, no, don't use auth code flow for this. And so Justin added the OAuth2 device flow to MITRE ID Connect, which is our back end. And yeah, so we use MITRE OpenID Connect in the back end, and we actually use Nimbus SDK on the Android version. On the iOS version, we needed to build our own. These slides are the sequence diagrams just to show that it's just regular OpenID Connect. When the app posts its client registration request, it's again just a regular OpenID Connect dynamic registration. There's a little thing at the bottom there, device info, which has a little bit more information about the actual device, including an App Store receipt. Gets back a client ID, a registration access token. And then when I added my card serial number and my birth date, it sends an authentication request with a device code flow. And so the OpenID provider sends back a user code and a verification options, which is our custom little bit there as well, of counter or video. Once I got verified, the mobile app just does a regular token request. And with the device code flow, that's like a polling request, right? And so at this point, the server says, oh, yeah, no, you've been issued tokens. Here they go. And then the rest of it's just user info. Oops, too fast. And the rest of it's just regular user info calls and that sort of thing. How the login stuff works, I'm not going to talk about that too much today. But just to say that every app instance is an OpenID Connect client. And that was essentially the pitch to executive. Right? We had some challenges along the way. At the time, back in 2016, there wasn't a lot of JWS signatures. All the cryptography wasn't there in Swift. And so we had to build up that ourselves. Originally, we thought push notifications would be part of the solution. And they are, but in a much lesser role. Apple actually doesn't like it if you try and force users to use push notifications. It has to be a permission. We're out of time.
Talk fast.
Yeah. Unexpected network drops. This one actually is still a challenge. Is you generate a new token on the server, but if the client doesn't get it, then what happens, right? So some of the things we're still thinking about, is it a standalone credential? Is it a derived credential? What happens with the card? How does that affect the app? So our card renews every 5 years. What about the app? When do we rotate keys? Ongoing, still thinking. Can we use this in person? We get that question a lot in BC, is, well, can I show this at a bar? Not yet. Not yet.
Or if the police pull me over and I show my mobile card, is that enough? Right. Not yet.
And then we had the banking question earlier. How are we going to integrate with other emerging solutions? How are we going to integrate with the private sector? Those are things that we have to just navigate slowly with our privacy commissioner.
So in closing, just want to say a big thank you to this community for the learnings that we've had over the years in sharing your expertise, and this is us sharing our expertise that we've developed. Just it's a great place to come and learn and meet people that we don't think that we would have made it this far.
Absolutely.
And open standards definitely helped kickstart our work and helped with our pitches to the executive about saying, hey, we keep going to these conferences, we learn these things, let us get into that, and it has definitely served us well. And so excited to see what the future brings and to keep learning and evolving our solutions.
And just one more note on the video thing is that yesterday there was 180 calls.
Yeah.
And the day before, 185.
Yeah.
So we've
real people
gone up
calling
almost
in.
400 more mobile cards in the last 2 days using the new service channel.
All right. Thank you.